Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi 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 Jaya Vrinda Devi.
Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunja Vihari Radha Madhuva Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunja Vihari Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhagute Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhagute Yasudanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasudanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jaya Radhu Madhuba Kunda Bihare Joy Radhu Madhuba Kunda Bihare Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhauti Janabalaba Girivardhauti Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhauti Yasudanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasudanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jayo Radha Madhuba Kunda Bihari Jayo Radhu Madhuba Kunda Bihari Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Shimad is Divine Grace Sabaya Chananada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadha Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shai Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuradam Ki Jai Jagadada Swami Ki Jai Yamunamaya Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharni Nivashesha Shanyavadi Paschata Deja Tarani. So today we are reading from the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 65, text 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Kachin no Bandhava Rama Sarve Kushalam Asate Kachet Smarata No Rama Yam Dara Sutanvitaha Kachino Bannavarama Sarve Kushalamasate Kachet Smarata No Rama Yuyam Dara Sutanvitaha Kachino Bannavarama Sarve Kushalamasate Kachit Smarata No Rama Yuyang Dara Sutanvitaha Kachino Bandhavarama Sarve Kushalamasate Kachit Smarata No Rama Yuyang Dara Sutanvitaha. Okay. Okay. Kachit weather. Na our Bandhava relatives. Rama O Balarama. Sarve all. Kushalam well. Asate are. Kachet weather. Smarata remember. Not us. Rama O Rama. You all of you. Dara with wives. Sutta and children. Anvita together. So translation, the coward said, "O Rama, are all our relatives doing well? And Rama, do all of you with your wives and children still remember us?" So you can repeat. The coward said, "O Rama, are all our relatives doing well? And Rama, do all of you with your wives and children still remember us. So there's no commentary by the followers of Srila Prabhupada, so I'm just going to read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, which is quite interesting. The elder coward men asked, are our friends the Yadavas well? The men of the same age asked, do you remember us? Clarifying the questions of the cowards, the very elderly asked this question. Are the Yadavas well, and sometimes do you, along with your wives and children, remember us? You, Yam, you two, indicates Balaram and Krishna. Can you hear me now? Okay. It's just not loud enough, is that the point? Okay. I think there's a separate volume control for the kitchen. It is understood that after the two brothers had children, oh my feet, after the two brothers had children, Krishna still did not come there. However, by the mention of Kamsa being killed, it should be understood that when Balaram came, it was not as many years after that incident. Thus, the eldest children only had been born. Vishnu Purana says, Vivahat prageva kalyavana avadaratam maturam agatyos tadhude rite teta Shri Krishnasya dvarakayam gamanam asyacha gokule. After marriage, the two came to Mathura to kill Kalyavana. After that, Krishna went to Dwarka and to Gokula. However, in Harivamsa, it is said that when Srigala Vasudeva was killed in a battle at Gomanta, near Karavira, much later, the two came to Mathura and then went to Gokula. This is understood to be from a different kalpa. He came and met the people of Braja not long after leaving Braja. So, again, the verse, Kachinna Vandava Rama Sarve Kushlamasate Kachit Smarata no Rama Yuyam Dara Sutan Vitaha. So Omagana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakya Jakshur Meditam Yena Tuzmai Shigarave Namaha. So there's actually quite a few points here that need to be made. One is this reference of a pastime that happened in a different kalpa with this Srigala. Actually, in Sanskrit, this Srigala is actually very interesting. Does anyone know what the word Srigala means in Sanskrit? No. It means jackal. So Jackal Vasudev. So, in other words, it was another person in another kalpa who was making believe he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead and challenging Krishna, saying that he was God. Interesting, isn't it? It's not Pondraka. It's a version of Pondraka in a different kalpa. It's interesting. So what that indicates to me is that, of course, we shouldn't try to be God and challenge God. That's one thing. You get your head cut off, as happened with the Srigala Vasudeva. Actually, I've read the whole story of Srigala Vasudeva, and I have it here, but I'm not going to read it. There's not enough time in class. It's a really interesting story. So what this indicates to me, more importantly, that the Lord's pastimes are variegated. It's really interesting. I mean, you hear this elsewhere in the Bhagavatam when you hear about the different incarnations of Lord Varaha, that things happen in different kalpa, in a different way. Lord Varaha appears in a different way. So sometimes we hear described, and it's true, that Krishna's pastimes are like a routine spool. You've heard this, spool. Of course, that's movies. Everyone knows about movies. Anyway, that's when they used to have movie theaters who had these, the film rather than video. And that means you had all these different pictures, like 25 pictures a second were flashing in front of the screen. Of course, when I was young, the first movies we had were these flip things. You remember that, Mother? You flip that, you wind something up on the side, and that was the movie. That was the extent of the technology when I was young. So it was a real movie. But it was different pictures that you were flipping back and forth. So that's why Prabhupada referred to routine spool, because, I mean, just like even nowadays, you watch this movie of Maha Avatar, the Sringadev, right? And even if you go 2 or 3 times to see the movie, it's all the same movie, isn't it? Basically. Unless they do a re-editing of it. But it's all the same movie. So sometimes devotees picture Krishna's pastimes as all exactly the same each time. But it's not. Another instance, Prabhupada talks about how sometimes, let's say, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha are Jai and Vijay, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're not cursed. They're actually demons. So there's another instance of variety. So Krishna is an expert in variety. Like Prabhupada said, variety is the mother of enjoyment. Just like we all like variety. Like every day, people like to eat different food, right? Different variety. Well, today actually, someone who is a sannyasi shouldn't be thinking like that. But someone who is a grahasta can think like that. So, different food. Just like when I was young, you go to a different restaurant every night. Italian. I'm not saying the other types of restaurant we went to. Very sinful. But so there's variety. So in the same way, in Krishna's pastimes, he does things differently each time. I mean, even Ram's pastimes. I mean, sometimes Sita Devi is kidnapped from the Dandakaranya forest, and sometimes Ravana may be kidnapping her from Ayodhya. There's infinite variety and infinite numbers of pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the Bhagavatam describes like waves of the ocean. There's infinite different incarnations. Krishna's just like we have all these human beings on this earth planet, and everyone looks different, right? Hopefully. Even twins, they look different when you get to know them. So there's so much, It's loud enough. It's loud enough. If I get any louder, it'll get distorted. So you can always tell the difference when you get to know someone. They're all different. It's not like cookie cutter people. And so Krishna's pastimes are so interesting that he does things differently in a different kalpa. That's one thing I learned from this, which is, to me, it's very exciting. And in the spiritual world, it's like that too. Although you have similarity between different pastimes in the spiritual world. For example, sometimes it's similar that Krishna in Brihad-bhagavatamrita apparently goes to Mathura, leaving the residence of Vrindavan bereft of his association, and then he comes back. And then he does it again. Of course, they forget that pastime had happened before because they're always in the now. Just like nowadays, people talk about what? Mindfulness means always being in the now. And it's, so you may think like that. Don't you get bored? That's another point. Even if there's some similarity or you're repeating pastimes, it's still not boring. Why? Because people are absorbed in the now. You understand? The now, what's happening now, the bob and the emotion of it. Just like you may be eating your favorite food day after day after day. Hopefully you don't get bored. And you're absorbed in the taste sensation. And you don't think, yesterday I ate this. Or even if you're going in spiritual life, it's like that too. That you're going to Mangalarti and you're not thinking, there's the same old song. Let's chant the samsara song, the song of material entanglement. It's actually the Guru Vastika. We don't chant the samsara song. Can you imagine? Prabhu, let's chant the song of being entangled in the material world. No. So, but if you actually absorb, I was thinking like that this morning as I was chanting. Sometimes I actually get a little spiritual insight. So as I was chanting the Guru Vastika, I was thinking of the meaning of it, which is, we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to learn the meaning, not just recite it like parrots. And, I forgot that I was in New Goloka. I forgot everything that I'd done it previously, that I'm so many years old, that my body's aching, anyway, whatever. And so, because you're in the now, so that's the point of Krishna's pastimes. And if we're in Krishna consciousness in the now, absorbed in what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the meaning of it, then there's never any boredom. But in any case, there's a lot of variety. So, another thing I wanted to do here in class, before we run out of time, is read from the Gopal Champa, which gives us a little bit different insight into this particular pastime. I mean, it's really a beautiful insight because it reflects or indicates Balaram's consciousness. And I guess I could give it away. But the whole time that Balaram is interacting with the residents of Vrindavan, he's feeling separation from Krishna. So let me read from this. This is Gopal Champu, same pastime. He met the elders, their wives. We're going to read from it's going to indicate a little bit the previous verse, verse number 6. He met from the elders, the wives, the younger cowards, and friends, and asked them how they were. They also inquired from him about his health. The mind of the gentleman is one with his relatives. Balaram understood that the people of Braj, for attaining Krishna, were without enjoyment internally, but cared for the cows externally just to please him. Wow. So let me explain that. Without enjoyment internally, that means you don't get any internal enjoyment. There's two levels of that. One is the intense pain, but the pain, which you may term to be without enjoyment, is actually ecstasy because it's more connection with Krishna, Vipralambha Seva. Tears gush from his eyes. So then there's the recitation of the previous verse, which I'm not going to read because you heard that yesterday. When Balaram inquired, the elders replied as follows. Here's today's verse. Killing Kamsa, Krishna freed our friends countless times and gave them great happiness. In Dwarka, you now enjoy with your wealth and sons. But by those pastimes we have attained happiness. But what happiness do we get from remembering that you are there? In other words, we're happy for you that you are having a good time. But we get misery from understanding we're not with you, you're there. The younger residents said, we had faith that today or tomorrow you two would return. We pass our time till then maintaining our lives. Holding your feet, we prayed that you bring Krishna from Dwarka and do not go anywhere else. His friends said, will you and Krishna meet with any of us? Why do we have no attraction for the play that we had before you went to Mathura? Our lives and our cows' lives are now in a precarious position. Restore us so that we can live and play as we did before. And then there's a quote from the Harivamsa. The details are understood from the Harivamsa, and I'm not going to read the Sanskrit. When Balaram, the best among givers of bliss, and with sweet speech, returned to Braj from far away, the elder coward spoke to him, welcome. this is a little repetitive. Your glorious brother killed the wrestlers in Kangsa and installed Ugrasen on the throne. We have heard that he fought with a big fish in the ocean. Harivamsa also says, Balaram answered all the people who were around him, among the Yadus you are my friends. The reciter thought to himself, the words returned from far away and Harivamsa indicate that the situation was between Balaram and the cowards was the same as previously, what to speak of when Krishna would return. Among all the Yadus indicates among all the Kshatriya Yadus. However, it also can indicate difference with the meaning of the ablative case, you are my friends more than the Yadus. Similarly, one may say the people of Mathura are wealthier than the people of Shroga. Thus, half the day, Balaram would speak with the elders politely and with the juniors with affection. He would speak with friends while laughing and holding their hands. After that, he went to Nanda's house. This is filling in some more details. Finished his meals and went to the assembly, making the members as well as those outside and inside happy by telling about the conquests of Krishna. With Yashoda's permission, he then went to sleep. But even though Balaram played with the cowards in Braj, he was not happy internally. For Krishna was his eyes and the cowards' eyes, for without him they were blind. Sad in separation from Krishna, Balaram simply looked at the cows in the morning and evening, but did not herd them. In other words, Balaram was feeling so much separation from Krishna, he looked at them and he just forgot that he was supposed to herd them. Listen to this. This is really intense. Balaram, who does not consider himself Balaram without the presence of Krishna. The life of all is attached to Krishna and is next to you, showing affection for you. Pretty intense, isn't it? Balaram, let me just repeat that. That was actually quite interesting. Balaram, who does not consider himself Balaram without the presence of Krishna, the life of all, is attached to Krishna and is next to you. So that's Balaram's intense affection. So finally, we wanted to talk about two different subject matters. One is that, there's inquiry about the relatives. So generally, we are informed, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, in this particular phrase, swajana, that to be attached to your relatives or things connected to your body, not things, people connected to your body, is what Prabhupada termed, forgive me for using this expression, what? Skin disease. So what's happening here? I'm not going to get into that because I heard a very heavy class that Prabhupada was giving about this morning. It was a morning walk in 1977, and oh my God, Prabhupada was preaching to some man about renunciation. I can't believe how heavy Prabhupada was. Anyway, not going to get into it. So what's going on here are the residents of Braj subject to this skin disease, or is Balaram subject to this skin disease? No. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not subjected to skin disease, nor is pure devotees. Of course, Krishna is described as what is that? Yeah, that Krishna doesn't have any friends. Krishna doesn't have any enemies. He's equal to everybody. And Vaishnavas are equal to everybody. Even the Brahmanas, Vidya, Vinaya, Sampane, Brahmani, Gopihastani, Shunichaiva, Sampakicha, Pandita, Samadarshana. And a Vaishnava is compassionate to all living entities. So basically, in this particular context, there's attachment for the other devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because all these different devotees, the Yadus and the residents of Vrindavan, are all Vaishnavas. So there's special attachment for them. And so Balaram, the residents of Vrindavan are inquiring about these individuals, even though they're using the terms friends, bandhava, and relatives. It doesn't indicate partiality. It indicates special concern for those who have some connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another thing we can learn about this is that as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we should not only be concerned with others' spiritual lives, but we should be concerned with the welfare of others in terms of their health and their satisfaction. In other words, we should have 360 understanding or concern or compassion with others. That's Vaishnava care. Many years ago, we were on this Vaishnava care committee for the GBC. We actually had this nice committee that we work on, and we actually looked at all the different areas where we were concerned with other Vaishnavas. And of course, there were different, first of all, there were different groups of Vaishnavas. There were old people, brahmacharis, women, children, that's one thing. And then all the different categories of care that we should be concerned about in the Krishna consciousness movement. I remember in the early days of the movement, we weren't concerned about anything except for what? If someone was following strictly. We didn't care. You had a headache, it's Maya. You're sick, chant Hare Krishna. One time I was in a particular temple. Won't mention the temple. I had a high fever, and I was lying in bed, and temple president came up to me. Actually, it was the GBC. He came up to me, and he hit me. I said, I'm sick. He said, get up. The only way you overcome sickness is what? Working for Krishna. So I got up, and then he sent me out to chop wood in the forest, And anyway, it's a funny story that what happened is that there was a piece of wood that was so hard like a stone, I couldn't hit it, couldn't dent it. And then he came along and said, what's wrong with you? He said, let me do it. And the same thing happened to him, and I broke up laughing at him. Anyway, so that's a different story. So the point is, and I remember that to this day, and that was 55 years ago. 54, I think. 1970. That was 1972. How many years ago? 53. 53 years ago. And because it's traumatic. And because I wasn't dealt with compassionately. And even now, when I go to that same location, there's this PTSD from that. So what does that mean? That means we should treat devotees lovingly and be concerned with their mental health, physical health, financial health, whether they have enough shelter. All these things are very important. It's not Maya or illusion. We have these statements by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Upadeshamrita, the loving exchanges between devotees. And of course we hear about Didati Prati Guyamat Geti Prichati Bhunkte Bhujite Jaiva, revealing the mind in confidence. Sometimes in the past I revealed my mind in confidence, and I was just told your mind is just Maya. So we're not going to attract devotees, keep devotees, and we're not going to please Krishna. Because one of the things that, with that attitude, one of the points or reasons that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came down was this, Vaishnava Seva and what Jiva Doya. We talk about all these things many times, like what Vaishnava Seva, Jiva Doya, and what was the third one? Nama Ruchi. And they're all very much connected. So if we're concerned with the care of Vaishnavas, then we get Nama Ruchi, a taste for the holy name. And if we're compassionate to jivas, we also, we exhibit compassion by helping them come to Krishna consciousness, but it's not that we're callous to them. So here, in this particular verse, you find the residents of Vrindavan inquiring as to the welfare of the people in Dwarka, the Kshatriyas in Dwarka. And it's interesting also that you have the Vaishyas inquiring as to the welfare of Kshatriyas. So, anyway, these are some of the points we can get from this particular verse and purport. So any questions or comments? Yes. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So here we see these pure devotees concerned about the welfare of others. Yeah. Jivadoya. Yeah, so Vaishnavas, he's well rounded in terms of his approach for compassion for others. Yeah. What's that? How do we feel concerned for people without getting sentimental? Is that the point? Whoop. I think we have. We're in Hastinapur. You know what that means? Hasti. Whoops. So, I think we have to discriminate or understand the difference between their needs and their desires. There's a vast difference. So anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamate Namaste, Trasti Deve, Gorvani Macha, Naked Sesha, Shunyavadi, Satchati Satarate. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jitvaita Gadada Siva Sari Gaurabhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Krishna Nityananda Brahma Nityananda Dvaita Gadada Siva Sari Gaurabhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahma Nityananda Dvaita Gadada Siva Sari Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hey, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Radhe, 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 Radhe. Shri Radhe, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa.
Harinam Sankirtan in Chapel Hill, Saturday afternoon, evening, 5 to 7, right in front of the post office on Franklin Street. Haribo, Anadi will be there. Chaito Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Gairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Hare Krishna Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amitas Maranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Namashame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashimba Chintaya Nayanam Gladashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadurudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabukada Tavanama Grame Vavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Nakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Achlishavapadamratam Banastumam Adarshanam Marma Hatakarotuva Yatatatava Vidadatulam Pato Mat Prananata Susa Evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction of living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I beautiful women, nor do I have any. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord. and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.